Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so as I hope you know, I very, very recently launched a membership for the very first time. It's called the Regenerative Business Ecosystem. And I'll have to do another episode on the birth of it and my thought process behind it and why I was resistant of it for an entire year. But since we are in a special enrollment period right now, where it is the founders launch, the again, very first time it's ever opened, it's ever existed. So if you've been in my world a while, you know that I reward people who take action quickly. And so the founders launch, of course, comes with a discount. And if you jump in before doors close on July 7th, 2025 at midnight Pacific, then you get that founders price and you get to be one of the OGs. And so I wanted to tell you what I am loving most about the membership right now. Because I was really nervous in starting this, that I was like, okay, if I create a membership where there's literally everything I've ever created within it, then people are going to be so fucking overwhelmed. They're not going to know where to start. They're going to freeze. They're not going to know what to do. So I was super intentional around how I actually designed it and put it together. And there's some things in the future that I know I'm going to tweak and update. Like, I think in the future, I'll probably have it so you have to jump through a few hoops once you join in order to get access to everything. Like, you'll have to go through the Radical Riches pathway in the onboarding section before it unlocks all of my other programs. But as of right now, you get instant access to everything when you join. But I secretly soft launched it in early June to people in my inner circle. And then this has been the public launch. And it's been so freaking rewarding. Something that I was so excited. Like, once I was like, okay, we're doing it, and I was so bought in on it. It's just been so rewarding to have it mirrored back immediately how much people love it. Where I just got a message the other day from someone who joined during the secret soft launch of it. And so it's been 3 weeks. She's been in it for 3 weeks. And she said, literally the best investment I will make all year. And it's only July. The calls so far have been solid gold, easily saved me so much time and money. It pays for itself basically immediately. And I was like, fuck yes, this is exactly my intention. Like, I want you guys to get results so quickly. I want it to feel like this really juicy container where you feel so supported, where you have everything you need, where everything's at your fingertips, but there's no pressure to go through everything. It's just there as if you need it, it's there as the excitement guides you. And so the thing that has been working better than expected is my personalized onboarding. So this was one of the features that I came up with in order to address that overwhelm element. I was like, okay, if they get instant access to everything, how do I prevent the overwhelm? And so what I set up is when people join in the welcome section, there is a questionnaire for them to fill out. I kept it super simple with mainly all multiple choice and then some open-ended boxes. And so I read the questionnaire. There's also a separate survey for when they immediately come in. So I kind of reference those two places where I have information. I can see if they've been in any courses with me in the past. What have they already gone through before joining the membership? I can do a little sleuthing on their social media or their website. And I record a audio just like this of, okay, based on this and that and this and that, this is what I want you to focus on. And I give recommendations based on questions they sent in and also what courses to focus on. So it's okay, you definitely need to go through Sacred Attraction Formula. That's exactly where I would start. I would actually recommend you do this part of the treasure map track, blah, 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 blah. And I was kind of going blind in on this. I'm like, fuck, someone could come in for a single month, so spend less than $200 and get a personalized game plan from me. Am I going to resent this? Luckily, I know that any offer you create, you can absolutely change in the future. And if I hated it, I could have changed it. Of course, followed through on the promise I made to the people who joined at that, but I'm actually really loving it. And it makes me feel more connected to the people who are joining because, yes, this is quote unquote a scalable offer. So lots of people can come in. But not only has this made it so that people know exactly what to focus on, so it's squashing that overwhelm, but I'm feeling more connected to everyone. And I get to know behind the scenes of the business, and it just feels so special. The other thing that's working better than expected is the audio drops. And this is totally feeding my Gemini rising chattiness. So I have all of these courses created, and I don't necessarily want to keep adding and adding and adding and adding to the courses. They are complete. They are beautiful. And of course, things will be added over time. But the audio drops, which is essentially a private podcast that you get access to when you join, they are these like 3-minute to 15-minute audios where I explain exactly how I'm using the teachings. So in one of them, I broke down a sales page that I wrote and how I was applying certain copywriting techniques from Copywriting Alchemy on the specific page. But then also different magical things that I use for like timing and the rituals I'm loving using right now. And also what I'm seeing currently happening in the marketplace, because especially as technology develops, and AI develops specifically, we are moving faster and faster and faster. You already know what was working for you in 2020 wasn't working for you last year. And things are changing so rapidly right now. It almost feels like things change from a month-to-month basis. So as someone who fucking loves marketing and is really tapped into that stuff, I'm just finger on the pulse and sharing in this audio drop section. So I'm so friggin' loving this. Now, one thing that has been unexpected, because I have an email that automatically goes out one day after people joins with a quick question of why they're joining. Almost everyone was like, well, I've always wanted to do all of your courses and it's at a no-brainer price. So of course, I'm definitely jumping in now. Not jumping in now would be self-sabotage. But at least a third of those people said it was perfect timing for me. So many people said it. They said it over and over and over as I've been reading through them. And I find that so delightful as a magical person who is so intentional on timing, where it did take me a year to finally unleash this membership. And I feel like it affirms that I wasn't just waiting on my own time and energy. I was also waiting for my people. I was waiting for the people meant to join right now, and it being good timing for them too. And so much of this is I wanted a space where people could gather around the shared, wildly unaccepted reality of bridging the paradox of making lots of money and wanting to tear down the system, right? Like most people who are making great money are trying to protect the system. At least if you're in the United States, you see people starting to make multiple 6, 7+ figures in salary in their business, through corporations, through whatever, and they're trying to protect the system. So having a place full of rebels and weirdos and ones building justice-driven businesses who aren't afraid of raising their prices, who aren't afraid of increasing their visibility, who want their missions to be enormous and be really well compensated in the process. It just feels so good to have everyone coming in with that shared agreement. And so the other day I led the live workshop for Radical Riches, and I found a study that I hadn't seen before called the ASCH experiment, and this was done in the 1950s, and it was studying conformity, which is essentially, will you go against your own personal beliefs and thoughts in order to conform to the group? And so what the study did is it had 2 different images. In one images was a single line, and in the other image were 3 different lines of varying heights. And one of those lines in the second image were the exact same length as the line in the first image. And it was intentionally obvious. Like they weren't trying to trick them at all. So there would be like a super short line, a medium line, and a really long line, where one of those perfectly matched the line in the initial image. And the tricky part of it was that the subject was in a room with actors that they didn't know were paid actors to be there. And all of the paid actors were choosing a wrong line. And 75% of people, at least one time, went against the obvious correct answer that they knew was right because everyone else in the room agreed on a wrong answer. And they've redone this experiment multiple times in different places around the world and in different decades. So it's not just like 1950s conformity. It's baked in humanity that we conform to the people who are in the same room as us. We conform to the people who are around us. So I'm like, if that's not an underline, a highlight on the idea that it's so important what we're filling our brain with, who we are surrounded by, like, I don't know what is. We will go against our own belief of what is right to conform. And we don't even know if we're doing it. Anyways, so other things that I'm loving about the membership right now is, or really some very intentional elements, is I find that most other ones I've seen tend to lean heavy into the strategy or heavy into the vibes. And this place really is for both, where we put so much energy into the energetics while also engaging as much strategy as possible. Of course, guided by our intuition. But it's not just, I'm going to like vibe and like write. No, we're going to also look at the data. We're also going to make informed decisions based on what's happening in the market, you know? And a lot of coaches on the internet are trying to use scalable offers to decrease intimacy. And I really wanted this place to actually be a way for me to increase intimacy with everyone, with my people. Because over the last year, at least, other than the 4-month mastermind I did at the end of 2024, I've just done self-study programs and like maybe with a few live calls thrown in with it, but it's essentially self-study. And it was needed for me. It was lovely, but there was something that felt off around it. And I was like, oh, you know what? This actually isn't the right setup for my squishy Cancer moon who loves having places with her people. So with all the live calls every month, with the personalized onboarding, it's been feeling like this really perfect balance of making something that is priced so accessibly, and also I get to hang out with my people, which I fucking love. Okay, so if you're not in the regenerative business ecosystem yet, and you're listening to this in real time, get your butt in here. Seriously, right now is the discounted founders rate, which disappears on Monday, July 7th, 2025. When you join at that founders rate, you get that founders rate locked in for you forever. And also doors close on Monday at midnight. I'm not sure when they're going to open again. I want to just close the container, spend some time together, get into a really good groove with me, with my team. Maybe they'll open again in a month. Maybe they'll open again in 3 months. I'm not sure. But if you've been served by this podcast, by any of my free trainings, by my Instagram, if you've been in any of my mini courses or my full courses, this is the perfect next step with so much more physical, intellectual, strategic, and energetic support. So I cannot wait to see you inside.